Gertrude was a marketer by God. Not a market trader, but one who could find the key to the heart of any customer, not by forcibly selling goods to him, but by actually selecting what suited him. Thanks to good taste and delicate attitude to customers, she quickly acquired a large number of regular customers. The woman's success and the financial profit of her store did not go unnoticed by its foreign owners. Starting her career at this big brand store, she quickly rose from a simple salesperson to the head of its largest branch in the capital. The shareholders wanted to appoint her to an even higher position, making her director of the entire chain of stores in our country. But Gertrude refused, arguing that her passion was sales, not administration. Her response was appreciated, and once again her salary was raised. It would seem that thanks to the professional success of the woman had nothing to desire, but plunged headlong into work, she completely forgot about her personal life. No longer seeing a wife at home and not receiving from her affection, she left her husband with whom she had previously lived for 25 years. Gertrude herself began to suffer from a lack of intimacy with the opposite sex, but began to fill the physiological needs of the body even more active professional activities, working just to wear out. This could not but affect her health, and the woman gradually became nervous and irritable. Forgetting about the world around her, she completely missed the moment when her only daughter found a life partner and jumped out to marry him. Her chosen one turned out to be a rather intelligent and quiet young man who always tried to behave lower than water and quieter than grass. He dressed accordingly, in unremarkable gray clothes, trying not to stand out from the general mass. Once, at one of the rare meetings with his mother-in-law, he suddenly got into a conversation and complained that despite certain successes in his work, they did not want to promote him. The wording was ridiculous and simple. Too mediocre appearance for the head of the direction, say, this position needs a stylishly dressed employee with a well-hung tongue. Well, I cannot teach you how to communicate with people, but why not help you and dress up properly? You forget where I work? I don't know, it's embarrassing. What's awkward? It should be awkward to sit in one place and not even try to succeed. It's settled. You come to my store tomorrow and we'll buy you a bunch of normal clothes. With my discount, it won't be too hard on your wallet. I work till 9. I can't get to you before 10. Carl started mumbling. That's fine, we work till 10. Everyone will be gone and no one will bother us. Gertrude. No refusals. See you tomorrow. It was hard to refuse a persistent and perky woman, and it was impossible to refuse such a dullard as Carl. The next day, he really arrived at the very closing time of the store. At first he did not want to pass neither the guards nor the other saleswomen, until his son-in-law rushed to defend the one, whom everyone loved and respected immensely. They realized with smiles that the character of this guy is completely opposite to the character of their manager. So, walk here, choose, and I'll close everything and double-check. The fulfillment of the usual but important duties of her job was the woman's first priority. Gertrude left her son-in-law for about 20 minutes, expecting that when she returned, she would find him with a lot of things that he had already tried on. However, the woman completely underestimated his shrewdness. Carl was completely confused, and a little wandered around the store, chose only one pants, shirt, and jacket. After that, he sat on a bench waiting for his mother-in-law. When she came out of the back room, she splashed her hands with indignation. Shit, why are you sitting there? I don't even know where to go. Let me buy this. Gertrude looked up and saw that her absent-minded son-in-law was sitting right under the sign labeled Fitting Rooms. You'll buy it? Without trying it on? This? What are you doing? You came here for stylish clothes, not clothes as mediocre as yourself. I'll pick something out for you myself. Carl took offense at his mother-in-law's words. Being a rather complex person, he reacted very painfully to statements about his character. Gertrude took a long hanger on wheels and dragged it around the store, taking clothes she liked off the racks and other hangers. When she returned to her son-in-law a few minutes later, she realized from his rounded eyes that she had gone a little overboard. There were so many clothes that Carl even had a sense of humor. I hope we'll have them in time for the store opening, he said with a silly smile. If necessary, then and until the opening, we'll sit until the opening. Parried mother-in-law. You know what? Let's go to my office. It will be more comfortable there. Gertrude dragged her son-in-law through the office straight into her small but cozy room. In addition to a closet and a desk with a computer, there was a small leather sofa, on which the woman occasionally rested from hard work. "Well, undress," she said demandingly. The embarrassed man began to get rid of his clothes. Before taking off his t-shirt, he again looked at the woman. His mother-in-law continued to stare at him intently, without a backward glance, just trying to determine the right size for him. When Carl remained undressed from top to waist, Gertrude noted that he was quite handsome in appearance. "That's what my daughter fell for," she thought, and began to assess the fit of one of the shirts she'd chosen for her son-in-law. "It's big. I got the wrong size. I'll go change it," she announced. In the meantime, try on the pants. When she returned with a new batch of shirts, she found Carl taking off his pants. "They're too big, too," he stated, embarrassed that his mother-in-law had seen him in his underpants. "Yes, something I began to miss with sizes," Gertrude said thoughtfully, continuing to look at her son-in-law's groin. There, in her opinion, everything was perfect with the size. The woman began to feel a semblance of arousal. It had been too long since any man had been so naked in front of her. Therefore, when she went to the hall again to get smaller pants, she was not thinking about the styles and sizes. Looking at herself in the mirror, she adjusted her breasts under her blouse and undid a couple of buttons, which revealed the top of her lush bust. These should fit. Gertrude handed another pair of pants to her son-in-law and stared unblinkingly at his ass, tightly covered with underpants. With each passing minute, she found it harder and harder to hold back, and soon she completely forgot where and with whom she was. The thought of at least touching the male body in front of her became so compulsive that Gertrude could not help herself. Walking over to her son-in-law, who was unsuccessfully trying to pull on his tight pants, she pretended to help him. At the same time, the woman's hand slipped on her son-in-law's butt, from which he shuddered and froze. "Too small," he squeezed himself out. "Oh, come on." The woman was making it up as she went along. With these words, as if unintentionally, she caught the man's large organ right through his underpants with her wrist. "Take off your shirt, or you can't see where they are too small for you," she continued to improvise. When Carl took off both his shirt and pants, he was left in just his underpants and socks. Gertrude froze a meter away from him, continuing to stare at his body. "Is something wrong?" he asked excitedly, beginning to feel a mutual physical interest in the woman. "Everything is almost—" She finally lost her head and decided to spill the whole truth to her son-in-law. "I haven't had a man for a long time. A man? Take me, please." With these words, she literally jumped on her son-in-law, throwing him on the sofa. Placing his legs between her own, she practically sat on top of him. In order not to hear a negative answer from the man, she immediately dug into his lips with her own and began to bite them passionately. Carl was taken aback and confused. He had considered Gertrude attractive and even sexy before, but what was happening now he could not imagine. The appetizing body and slutty behavior of his mother-in-law turned him on as well. The woman quickly pulled off her clothes, exposing her breasts to her son-in-law. This overflowed the cup of his patience, and he himself clung to her body. But a couple of minutes passed, as a roused man took the initiative and, throwing off the insistent woman himself, put her in a kneeling position. Their intimacy was short, but spectacular. Before going for a second go, Carl even tried on a couple of new shirts, only he was no longer embarrassed by his complete nakedness. However, Gertrude reciprocated him and shone her charms lying on the couch. After the second successful attempt at coitus, they exhaustedly fell on the couch together. "I'm afraid we will not have time to pick up anything for you today," the woman said thoughtfully. "It's okay. I'll come tomorrow by the closing of the store." The liberated man winked at her. Did you like this story? Let us know in the comments what you liked. Subscribe to our storytelling podcast. Also, don't forget to like and ring the bell so you don't miss more interesting stories. See you soon.